Hello and welcome. This video is about Mark Sargent. Now I saw Bob the Science Guy's videos about Mark Sargent's talk at the Flat Earth International Conference 2019, and it moved me to make this video. Initially, I was a bit annoyed about the way he presented the story of the coelacanth. But then I realized that he was being deceptive throughout the whole talk. So here is my attempt to put the record straight. I've tried to identify statements Mark made that I think were intentionally deceptive. You may disagree, you may find some others, but these are the ones that stuck out to me. If they were intentionally deceptive, then I'm tempted to conclude that Mark is well aware that the Earth is not flat. If he truly believed, then he would have no reason to be so deceptive. So I'm going to play the video of Mark's talk now. There's a little bit at the beginning where he's dealing with technical issues, then he gets into his talk, and I will interject with captions and comments.
This is Kanye West. He is quoted as saying that his only regret is not being able to see himself perform live on stage. I used to think this was the most arrogant thing I had ever heard until I saw this guy. That's right. This is Neil deGrasse Tyson, otherwise known as He Who Shall Not Be Named, the world's most popular scientist. His quote is as follows: "Science is true, whether or not you believe in it." A lot of scientists feel this way. If they put their stamp on it, then it is an absolute fact.
So this is deceptive statement number one. The quote is that science is true. Scientists do not think that if they put their stamp on it, then it is an absolute fact. There are no absolute facts in science. Absolutely none. Science seeks to find explanations that are most likely to be true. What this means is science is always ready to accept new evidence and new explanations. When new evidence arises that conflicts with accepted thinking, then that accepted thinking is revised or thrown out, and new hypotheses, new ideas, new theories are born. That's how science works, Mark, not the way you said.
Well, here's one of their absolute facts, and I did this just for you guys. It's a fish. This is a coelacanth, and this is the coelacanth fossil record. Mainstream science said without a doubt that this rather unattractive fish and all others like it went extinct at least 70 million years ago.
So deceptive statement number two. No, this is not an absolute fact, and it has never been claimed to be an absolute fact by scientists.
Every scientist in the fields relating to this fish was convinced that this was true and would have staked their careers on it.
So deceptive statement number three. No scientist would have claimed the coelacanth extinction as a fact, let alone staked their career on it. That's not what scientists do. That's not how science works.
All the scientists in question were absolutely 100% put it in a certificate you can frame wrong.
Deceptive statement number four. Scientists were not wrong because they never made the claim that it was certain that the coelacanth was extinct.
Why? This coelacanth was caught off the coast of South Africa in 1938, and it wasn't a fluke. Since then, they have been found in Kenya, Tanzania, Mozambique, Madagascar, just to name a few. I can assure you without a doubt, this fish right here has not been dead for 70 million years. That's National Geographic swimming with them, by the way. How did science screw this up so badly?
Deceptive statement number 5. Science did not screw it up so badly. Scientists found fossils of coelacanths, but no live coelacanths had been caught, so the evidence indicated that this species might be extinct. Then, in 1938, a coelacanth was caught, and that science said, okay, the coelacanth is not extinct, because that's what the new evidence demonstrated.
They saw the fossil record, which you saw earlier, and stopped looking for the truth.
Deceptive statement number 6. No, scientists did not stop looking for the truth. Scientists found the truth. Fishermen caught a fish that they hadn't seen before and showed it to scientists. Scientists said, wow, that's a coelacanth. We thought they were extinct, but now that you've caught one, we know that they are not extinct and we can study them. Thank you, fishermen. You've helped us understand the world a bit better.
Science is only true until the day that it isn't.
Deceptive statement number 7. No, science is always true. The fossil record of coelacanths didn't become false when a live coelacanth was caught. The live coelacanth only added to the truth demonstrated by science. It did not change the truth. I'll repeat, science never claimed the coelacanth was definitely extinct, only that it seemed probable it was extinct.
Why is this so important? Here's another guy you should boo. Ready? That's right. This is Brian Cox. Brian Cox is an astrophysicist out of the UK. He is the second most popular scientist in the world, next to he who should not be named. He hates flat Earth. Brian Cox hates it so much that he is... Did I just lose my screen? Oh no! What happened? Go to settings. Do we have to reset this? I was on a roll, guys. Run up here. It was. Brian Cox screwed it up. And here comes tech support. Oh boy. This may not be good. You know what? I'm gonna read until I'm just gonna read these until support. We'll get to the slide eventually. You ready? Okay. So Brian Cox hates it so much that he is in complete denial of it. He won't even acknowledge. What? You want me to hand it to you? Well, you can come up here. It's okay. No, I don't mind. Tech support, ladies and gentlemen. Go ahead, and I'll just read and we'll catch up to the slides. Honestly, it's the words anyway that mean something. The slides are good. Brian Cox hates it so much that he is in complete denial of it. He won't even acknowledge it exists. He states that it is not a thing now, that everyone here and at other conferences don't really believe in it, and that flat Earth was never a thing. It's just a myth or legend, and that no culture...
It's asking for a sign.
No.
Yeah.
Cancel. Just X out. X out. You're good. It'll work. It'll work. I never use that. Sorry. It's just a myth or legend, and no culture anywhere has ever believed in it. Brian thinks this is an absolute fact.
Deceptive statement number 8. No, he doesn't. This is typical quote mining. Rather than listen to the totality of what Cox or Neil deGrasse Tyson says, Sargent selects a quote that he can use to misrepresent Cox's position. What Cox is saying in this and in other interviews is that even the ancient Greeks knew the Earth was a sphere. Many other ancient cultures have also realized Earth is not flat, and that it is utterly ridiculous for anyone today to think that the Earth is flat. Even Mark Sargent doesn't really think the Earth is flat.
And normally there'd be a slide up there, and you guys can look this up. I'll just reference stuff. All you have to do is look up on, oh, there it goes. Perfect. You want to just hang out with me? Like over there? Okay, perfect. And you knew which slide to go to. He even knew which slide to go to. That's awesome. Okay, I find that interesting because there were a great many cultures that first looked at the world the same way, and they all drew the same images. Let's rattle off of them, some of these, shall we? Greek, Navajo, Babylonian, Mesa, Japanese, Persian, Viking, Indian, Mayan, Incan, Hebrew, Australian, Chumash, I don't know what Chumash is, Slavic, African, Sumerian, Mesopotamian, Norse, Hindu, Masonic. Little tip, when a secret society draws the world a certain way, you might want to pay attention. Islamic, Roman, Egyptian, Aztec, Arabic, all of these large groups saw the world like this.
Deceptive statement number 9. Did you see what Mark did there? He showed a number of images of the Earth drawn by various cultures and claimed that because these images exist, they all thought that the Earth was flat. This is not necessarily true. In the case of the ancient Greek culture, we know that they knew the Earth was spherical. Just because the art shows a flat Earth depiction doesn't mean they all believed the Earth was flat.
Oh, you don't have to applaud, it's fine. One I enjoyed more than most was made about 500 years ago in the Netherlands by a man named Hieronymus Bosch. It is called The Garden of Earthly Delights, and it opens to show a paradise inside. Interesting trivia about this piece, a replica of it hung above the childhood crib of Leonardo DiCaprio. This will come up later, trust me.
Deceptive statement number 10. Sargent is clearly implying that Bosch came from a culture that thought the Earth was flat. It is not clear that what Bosch himself thought about the shape of the Earth, but it is clear that 15th century Europe as a whole did not think the Earth was flat.
So it's 2019. I'm in a room full of people, and flat Earth is a thing. If I would have said these words to you even 5 years ago, it would have been considered the most extreme fringe science fiction. But today, the term and ideas are almost commonplace. So how did we get to this point? How did flat Earth make it this far? How did we get here? It is one of the most unlikely tales you will ever hear, with plot twists that would make a Hollywood writer blush. But as I'm fond of saying, the truth is often stranger than fiction. None of what I am about to tell you is secret information. Anyone can look up the record for what happened. But if you don't, I can assure you every word of what I'm about to say is true. On February 10th, 2015, I created the first of what ended up being the Flat Earth Clues series. And some of you know did not think it would gain traction. I put my name and phone number in the first video because apparently I enjoy abuse. I practically begged people to call me up and prove me wrong so I could get back to my sleepy little life in Boulder, Colorado.
Deceptive statement number 11. You may have asked people to prove you wrong, but you had no intention of going back to a sleepy little life. You have been proved wrong thousands of times, yet you are still here claiming to believe that the Earth is flat.
Almost immediately, I was set upon by people who wanted to know more. The emails started pouring in and the phone calls came at all hours of the night. Podcasts wanted to do interviews, students wanted details, and so did a lot of people making videos on YouTube. Rob Skiba called and wanted to debate me. During the show, you could feel his mind racing with new possibilities. After the second show, Truth Frequency Radio contacted me and asked if I would do a program of my own to talk about flat Earth and spread the word. And 2015 continued like that, a true grassroots year for flat Earth. More channels dedicated to destroying the globe. And the entire conspiracy world took notice because it was and still is the most hated and the most polarizing fringe topic that there is. Professionals from different walks of life began to come forward. From the American military, we had a Navy missile instructor, Air Force navigator, Marine Corps sniper instructor, Navy submarine chief, Army artillery radar operator, Army master gunner, Army air traffic controller, Navy navigator, and a Navy electronic warfare technician. From the air, we had American flight instructor, air traffic controller, commercial airline captains, commercial airline co-pilots. And from the ground, we had industrial engineers, corporate travel agents, large project surveyors, and many others.
Deceptive statement number 12. It's difficult to fact-check this list because it's not clear whether Mark is claiming that all these people were convinced that the Earth is flat. However, the implication Mark is making is that all these people are whistleblowers from jobs or careers that should know the true shape of the Earth. And that is not true. What Mark doesn't tell the audience is that the vast majority of people in every single one of those professions knows that the Earth is spherical. These supposed whistleblowers have not blown the whistle on anything. Not one of them has been able to provide a single piece of evidence that the Earth is flat, nor have they provided any that the spherical model of the globe is not used successfully every day in air and sea navigation, surveying, and military operations.
As 2015 drew to a close, the topic had started to expand its different facets, discovering new ideas almost weekly, and enthusiasm was high, even though mainstream viewed it as just another internet flash in the pan. They couldn't have been more wrong. At the beginning of 2016, a Grammy-nominated rap artist named Bobby Ray Simmons Jr., known professionally as rapper B.O.B., released a new single called Flatline. The song was unusual for two reasons. The first was that it included a long audio clip from astrophysicist, he who shall not be named, as he described the Earth as being pear-shaped. The second was that it implied that the scientist was taking government money to hide the fact that the world was indeed flat. This is when the mainstream media first took notice, mostly because it was new news. This is something they had never seen, and even before the media could fully digest the concept, the scientist in question did the unthinkable. He fired back. For reasons that continue to remain unknown to this day, the leading face of mainstream science decided to make an appearance on Comedy Central and then do a monologue against rapper B.O.B. on why the Earth isn't flat. He used no animations, no graphics, and made it a point to use profanity at the end while symbolically dropping the mic on the topic. With the help of his nephew, Neil Tyson even made a response rap song, which I will not play for you. And I know I said Neil Tyson. I go back and forth on that. The effect it had was, well, flammable. It was without a doubt the most interesting story to start off the year and helped fuel the emerging flat Earth topic in social media. Between the two people involved, one in the music industry and the other in science, there was no way the average media editor could ignore it. The mainstream exposed ordinary people who had never looked at a single conspiracy to the simple words that now echo everywhere. Flat Earth. In droves, the general population searched for the reason why this was a headline and were pulled into the rabbit hole from which few can escape. Including all you fine people. And if you think that's the strangest thing to start off the flat Earth world in 2016, you would be sorely mistaken. Leonardo DiCaprio visited the Vatican. This isn't real. You can watch the video of this. It's absolutely real. And guess what he brought up on camera? Flat Earth. Being an A-list celebrity only gets you 15 minutes with the Pope. True story. Did he talk about climate change? Yeah, a little bit. Did he bring the Pope an art book showing the world as an enclosed structure and how it represented the promise of the future? Indeed, he did. The Hieronymus Bosch pic is right there in the center. You can barely see it, but it's that square shot at the top of that page. After Leonardo left, the Pope left the Vatican and flew to Cuba to meet with the Orthodox Pope, the first time the two had met in 1,000 years. We don't know what they talked about, but after the Orthodox Pope left, he flew straight to Antarctica, one of the hot buttons of the flat Earth community.
Deceptive statement number 13. While it's true that Patriarch Kirill did visit Antarctica shortly after meeting Pope Francis in Cuba, Mark has lied by omission. The meeting was in Cuba because the Patriarch was starting a tour of South America. Patriarch Kirill visited Cuba, where he met the head of the Roman Catholic Church, Pope Francis. Kirill also travelled to Paraguay, Chile, Brazil, and even stopped in Antarctica. The Antarctica visit came during the Chile leg of the tour.
Who else went to Antarctica in 2016? Well, Secretary of State John Kerry, for one, and even though it may not seem strange to you, it did to me because he was there on election night.
Deceptive statement number 14. Why is that strange, Mark? Kerry was Secretary of State, which is not an elected position. Obama was at the end of his second term, so Kerry knew that neither Trump nor Clinton was likely to keep him on as Secretary of State. He had made environmental issues an important part of his work. His visit to Antarctica came as part of a visit to New Zealand, and Kerry was actually flying while much of the early election results came in, and in a hotel room in Christchurch when the election result was declared. He visited McMurdo Station, Antarctica the next day and flew to Wellington for a meeting with the New Zealand Prime Minister after that before going on to Oman, UAE, Morocco and Peru.
When he should have been back in the States backing his candidate. And who was his candidate at the time? Exactly. I didn't even say her name. Yeah, it was Hillary Clinton. So why was he there when Hillary was supposed to win? Remember, it was supposed to be a landslide. Well, he should have been right there. It's like, what, did he know she was going to lose? Maybe.
Deceptive statement number 15. Did he know she was going to lose? Maybe. Kerry, like many others, had predicted a Clinton win, but he knew he would not be Secretary of State even in a Clinton administration. Mark wanted the audience to think there is something strange about this visit when there isn't.
Who else was there? Astronaut Buzz Aldrin was there in 2016 and had to be, now, Buzz's. All right, you can boo him if you want. All right. He had to be airlifted out for health reasons. We can only speculate on why all these high-profile people went to Antarctica in 2016, and it still to this day raises many questions.
Deceptive statement number 16. More intentional deception from Mark. Mark says we can only speculate why all these high-profile people went to Antarctica. Buzz went as a tourist. Few would have known about it if he had not fallen ill. Who were all these high-profile people? The Patriarch of the Russian Orthodox Church and the US Secretary of State? That's hardly a lot of high-profile people now, is it, Mark?
The very first Flat Earth Video Award show was also in February of 2016. Yes, there were already so many Flat Earth videos that they were starting to give out awards.
Deceptive statement number 17. More intentional deception. The implication of this statement by Mark is that some sort of official awards were given for Flat Earth videos. No. The Flat Earth cult members decided to give themselves awards. Big deal.
By April, Flat Earth regional meetups were appearing. The first was in Houston, then Seattle, and after that, just about every state you could imagine. And this wasn't just happening in the United States. Across the pond, yeah. Dave Murphy from the UK had already made his first Flat Earth appearance on Macedonian television. By August of 2016, I started keeping track of the numbers and the sheer volume of videos the topic was helping create in social media. We weren't just an anomaly. We were a bona fide trend and gaining speed every month.
Deceptive statement number 18. Yet more intentional deception. So you kept track of the numbers, Mark. Why don't you have a slide showing them, or a graph? No matter. I do have one. This shows searches since 2004, and you can see that the highest peak was in 2018, but that it was only 4 times higher than the peak of 2008. Yes, there were more searches for Flat Earth, on Google since 2013 or 2015, but not really a great mass movement, is it?
As 2016 drew to a close, we were a cool club, well, sort of cool, that had gotten some solid attention, but the future was uncertain, sometimes even precarious. Not for long. Within a month, all that would change. In 2017, like a sign from the heavens, someone had carved into the hillside of Los Angeles, Google Flat Earth. Even now, this person responsible has never come forward. If you are this person, I would love to talk to you. From what I understand, it was a one-man job. He just went up there with a safety vest and a hard hat and a shovel and just carved this out. No one stopped him. It's brilliant. That very night, basketball all-star Kyrie Irving announced during a podcast that he believed in flat Earth, and the day after that, LeBron James, the big guy, the most popular face in American basketball, supported him. I cannot overstate the shockwaves that flat Earth was creating in the sports world. Every sports periodical in the world covered this story immediately. Then the general media dived in. Over the next few months, it was the water cooler topic. The crossover media was surreal. This is Rolling Stone article about Jimmy Kimmel and Dave Chappelle on late night television discussing Kyrie Irving and flat Earth. The word was now spreading so quickly across multiple levels of media, it was surreal. To add to the fire, NBA Hall of Famer Shaquille O'Neal supported Kyrie as well during a live broadcast, but only stood by it for 10 days. Turns out some of his sponsors weren't thrilled with the idea, as you can imagine, and so a hasty late-night talk show retraction was put into place, where, also on Jimmy Kimmel, I have a feeling Jimmy Kimmel's team is here today. I don't know if they're here right this second. He's not going to make an appearance personally. The UK program Big Brother kicked off a member for harassing someone who believed in flat Earth. The Canadian comedy team Trailer Park Boys did a full skit on the topic, and the year was only half over. Regional meetups were increasing every month. Denver, Boston, Phoenix, Las Vegas, Florida, Hawaii, Canada, London. Our first formal debate was in Atlanta. This is a shot right here. This is out of Seattle, Washington. There's Patricia Steer and Dee Marble in the middle. I'm up in the corner. I should be in the middle, but I'm not. That's fine. I'm not bitter. And as 2017 entered its final months, there stood the crowning achievement, the first Flat Earth Conference in 500 years. It might as well have been forever. An ancient truth made new again, simply by brave people believing in it.
Deceptive statement number 19. An ancient truth made new again, simply by brave people believing in it. No. Flat Earth has never been true. It's never been a truth.
International media flew in for the unique event and were amazed by the conviction, the passion, and the sincerity of all the people involved.
Deceptive statement number 20. Amazed? Oh yes, Mark, but not for the reasons you give. Mark, you know that most of the rest of the world considers Flat Earth to be utterly absurd and ridiculous. The only reason Flat Earth gets any media attention is because it is absurd for people to believe something that is so demonstrably untrue.
Oh, I hate this next slide. The largest YouTube channels in the world were now wading into the Flat Earth pool. This is the largest YouTube channel in the world. This is PewDiePie. That's Patricia Steer on the left and what appears to be Shrek on the right. I don't know how he created that shot, but as you know, I do not photograph well. Let's get past this slide, shall we? Late night talk shows were taking shots at us monthly. Who the hell was Freddie Flintoff? I didn't know, but apparently he was talking about Flat Earth over in London. Freddie Flintoff, turns out, is a cricket player. That's English for baseball. You know. HBO, Vice, ABC, BuzzFeed, German television, Russian television, British television, Hustler magazine. Yeah, I snuck in that. University classes, radio stations. The last day of 2017, rapper B.O.B. was preaching Flat Earth to Bill Nye the Science Guy. Thank you. I don't actually have a Bill Nye slide, so there you go. So you'll have to boo now. That same week, Kyrie Irving was using flat earth in his shoe commercials, and still mainstream science thought we would just go away.
Deceptive statement number 21. No, mainstream science has been aware of a few flat earth lunatics ever since Rowbotham in the 1800s. Mainstream science couldn't care less about people who think the earth is flat. People like Neil deGrasse Tyson, Bill Nye, Brian Cox and others only talk about it when they're on TV talking to non-scientists. Flat earth is completely irrelevant to mainstream science.
So what did we do in 2018? We changed gears. If some is good, then more is better. More meetups, not just every month, but almost every week. I had to build a special playlist on YouTube, and now there are hundreds of regional meetups in it. You would think at this point that nothing could surprise the media when it came to flat earth. They had already seen a rap battle between a Grammy nominee and the world's most popular scientist. Then they watched the sports world openly debate the shape of the world. What other rabbits did flat earth have in its hat? You know, before I get to the rabbit, I gotta mention. So yeah, that's San Francisco, right? Here's the fun one. Ready? That's South Korea. And then, what's that? Right in the middle of this, and you can't see him, he's towards the front. That's D Marble. I don't know how you get into everything, D. I didn't go to South Korea. Do you even speak Korean? What the hell? All right, so rabbit in the hat. What happened? Here's a rabbit for you. Mad Mike Hughes. I know it's kind of mixed, right? He's suing me, actually. It's a whole nother story, I'll tell you. A California stuntman put a giant flat earth sticker on the side of a homemade rocket and literally launched the topic to a new level. Did it prove flat earth? Not at all. Was it covered again and again in social media as the launch was delayed twice? Yes, it was. In 2018, there wasn't just one flat earth conference, there were three. One in the US, one in Canada, and one in the UK. All different, all fantastic. We now had dedicated venues where we could share our ideas and experiences. Just before the first Canadian conference, the first mainstream documentary on the topic defied all expectations and competed in 22 film festivals in 7 countries. So many showings that the producers could not even begin to attend them all. Before the year was over, it would be purchased by Amazon, YouTube, iTunes, and Netflix. And during all this, the numbers, the precious stats that I love, reached for the impossible. In June of 2018, Flat Earth, which started at a modest 50,000 search results, had hit 20.9 million.
Deceptive statement number 22. I'm not sure this one's quite so deceptive, but note that this is the number of search results, not the number of searches. I know you said search results, Mark, when you were talking, but it's clear your intention was to make it appear that the Flat Earth movement was growing. You could have mentioned that many of these results are debunks and people ridiculing Flat Earth and Flat Earthers.
The cherry on top being that the President of the United States, Donald Trump, was sitting at 20.8. And somewhere along the line, the powers that be decided we were getting a little too excited. The U.gov survey said it all. Americans were now starting to lean towards flat Earth too quickly for their tastes. Indeed, a full third of young Americans didn't believe in the globe anymore. I know, right? 34%. And if you haven't seen the Asmongold video, which came out in the last 2 weeks, you got to watch it, because under 20, we're tracking about 53%.
Deceptive statement number 23. Now, I'm going to spend a bit of time on this one and make a separate video about it because I think it is important. Here is the real data from that YouGov survey that you referred to. So Mark said a full third of young Americans didn't believe in the globe anymore. What does the survey actually show? Well, it appears that Mark is referring to 18 to 24-year-olds in this survey, ignoring all the others. He did say young people. And it's true, 66% said they'd always believed the Earth was round. Presumably that means spherical. And so if you take 66 away from 100, you get 34%. But what did the other 34% say? Well, 16% said other or not sure, so essentially did not answer the question. 9% had always thought the world was round, but more recently have been sceptical or have had some doubts. These should be included as really mostly people who are round Earth or spherical Earth believers. Another group always thought the Earth was flat, but more recently have been sceptical or had doubts. So these people have thought the Earth was flat, but are now coming round to the idea that they've just been spun a lie by people like Mark Sargents and are in fact more inclined to think that the Earth is spherical, or at least having doubts in that direction. And finally, there is the group that have always believed that the Earth is flat, and is 4% of the total. So far from the majority, a third of young people now not believing the globe, the survey actually shows that only 4% of young people are still absolutely convinced that the Earth is flat, while some more may be having some doubts. So what about the video that Mark referred to? Well, this is a still shot from a gamer's Twitch stream. He'd been mentioning flat Earth, and he put up a poll for a very short time and got this result, which is about 53%, 54% saying flat Earth. I hope I don't need to point out how absurd it is to claim that this is evidence for anything. It's a poll only of the people who happen to be watching his stream, and I can imagine that if I was watching that stream and I had been interacting with this guy and I knew this guy, I might click on flat Earth just to wind him up. There's no way that you can extrapolate from this to some kind of valid result, and Mark knows it. He mentioned the video in passing, but again, I think he's being deceptive here.
Scary for science. YouTube took matters into their own hands because of this. Yeah, I know. You hate them, but we need them. And they took down their own scoreboard so that we would stop pointing at it. Google went before the United States government and said they were doing what they could to deal with the flat Earth problem that kept spreading, but secretly still loved us because we kept people watching YouTube.
Deceptive statement number 24. Mark implies that the only concern expressed by government was flat Earth on YouTube. This is simply not true. The US government was concerned about false narratives of all kinds being spread on several internet platforms. Why? Because the spreading of false information about vaccines and other medical issues, climate change and other environmental issues, mass shootings and gun laws, and a host of other subjects, including space denial and flat Earth, is something governments should be concerned about. Mark wants the audience to think that flat Earth is important, but it was only a small part of these discussions.
Which is now the largest television network in the world. National Geographic tracked some of us down and condemned the Flat Earth movement as being a danger to medicine, a threat to technology, and had the potential of sending science back to the Dark Ages. To the Dark Ages. Really? You're going to clap the Dark Ages? Come on. Oh, right. I got you. I thought they were being a tad dramatic, but they did have a point. We weren't going away, and they knew it. Behind the scenes, they told me that it concerned them that science wasn't meeting us on the battlefield. They were hoping they could rally some of them to engage us. It didn't work. Science did everything they could to avoid the topic, to pretend that it wasn't there, and that people weren't listening.
Deceptive statement number 25. Earlier in your talk, you said that science was worried about flat Earth. Now you say science is ignoring flat Earth. Both cannot be true, Mark.
Shane Dawson, one of the largest channels on YouTube, made a single flat earth video in 2018, and it now has 32 million hits.
Deceptive statement number 26. The video in question is not just about flat earth. Flat earth is mentioned 26 minutes into a 45-minute video. And even after this point, much of the discussion is about other ideas like drugs, space, simulations, and methods governments might use to control behavior.
Shane's demographic is under 20. What is science going to do to stop that? Nothing, because it's not a real topic, remember? It's nothing when Jaron and Globebusters and Karen B and FE Core convince people with long-distance laser tests, when Rob Skiba does weather balloon tests, when Jay Tolan Media does daytime infrared photography. Don't worry about it as we look at boats that refuse to go over the horizon.
Deceptive statement number 27. No laser test has shown the Earth is flat. Jaron has shown the Earth is not flat. Interesting. Rob Skiba's balloon confirmed the curved horizon, and Jay Tolan's observations only confirm that he cannot correctly identify features on the curved Earth's surface.
You have a backup experiment. If you're seeing through this hole, through the next hole, and seeing the light at the backboard or at 17 feet off the water, the Earth is flat. If he's holding it up at 23 feet high and we're seeing the light, well, that's because the Earth's curved. So I should only be able to see it when it's at 17 feet. Okay, go ahead and drive down there, Enrique. You're gonna hold the light there. Enrique, how high is your light?
17 feet.
I mean, it's as, we don't see you, Enrique. Lift up your light way above your head. Interesting. Interesting there. That's interesting.
As we turn heads with street activism. There's a group called Globe Lie who already finished a town-to-town tour in the UK, and 2019 right now, they are still on tour, touring every country in Europe. And we're just getting started. 2019 is the year of flat earth conventions. This year alone, we had events in Los Angeles, New Zealand, Calgary, Stockholm, UK, Amsterdam, South Carolina, Brazil, and Dallas, Texas. Every month, I hear the globalists say that flat earth is fading away. This is the cover of Newsweek from June of this year. Note the flat earth thing on the bottom, and they're actually pumping up the globe to make it round. Cover of Newsweek. Think that's a fluke? This is the cover of Popular Science right now on newsstands. You can go buy it on the newsstand right now. Oh, don't get me wrong, they hate us. Why? We're out there. That magazine has been published for 147 years, and I know you can't see it very well, but just below the S in science, it says literally, this is a weird one. They gave us an 8-page spread. When they described me in it, did they call me goofy or warm or instantly disarming? No. Does anyone know how they described me? Yes, that's right, baby-faced. That's what they used. So in honor of that, anyone, in fact, we'll figure out, we're oh my God, I'm gonna run out of time before this is over. I'll make sure I give out a couple copies of this to some people. Let's see here. This is my message to science. What is flat Earth? Well, you better figure it out quick because we're bringing the fight to you. We become one of the most trending topics in the world with almost no resources, and we did it in 4 years. We can break down your space videos, your
Deceptive statement number 28. Not a single video taken in space has been successfully debunked. However, many space denier attempts to debunk official space videos have been themselves debunked, and in many cases shown to contain lies and dishonest editing.
images, and you
Deceptive statement number 29. I assume you mean images like the ones of Lake Pontchartrain taken by Soundly, or other photos taken by Wolfie 2060, Red's Rhetoric, or possibly even my own. Well, not one of these images has ever been successfully debunked, and all prove that the Earth is not flat.
better believe we're going after your theories because that's what most of them are, just theories.
Deceptive statement number 30. Just theories. This implies that they are just guesses or hypotheses. Mark, you know that a scientific theory is an explanation of a natural phenomenon that has withstood every attempt at disproof. Such theories are considered as being as close to proven as it is possible to get in science. Don't call them just theories.
It's 2019. Sorry, that's the one I was supposed to go to. And now we have an army. Channel after channel rising to 6 figures on YouTube. Jeranism, Rob Skiba, Celebrate Truth, Controversy 7, Red Pill Philosophy, ODD Reality. And the 5-figure channels, I've literally lost count. Channels dedicated against NASA, channels dedicated to experiments, channels dedicated to debates against globalists, channels dedicated to activism. So many different facets, it feels more like a school than an invasion force. But doesn't that make sense? Because every great army has an academy behind it. And we've created one from the sheer volume of our online content. Make no mistake, Flat Earth University is very different from other universities based on scientism. They will tell you that we're on a tiny rock flying through an impossible universe and that your life means virtually nothing.
Deceptive statement number 31. None of the statements Mark made are things that science states or claims. Earth is not a tiny rock. The universe is not impossible, and every human life has meaning for itself, its family, and friends.
We will gently remind you that this incredible world and everything in it was built just for you, because you are special, valuable, and unique.
Deceptive statement number 32. Yes, people are special, valuable, and unique. But the Earth was not made especially for people. It existed for 4.5 billion years before people did, and will continue in some form long after people have ceased to exist. Mark wants people who believe in Flat Earth to feel that they can only be cared for or nurtured or cherished in Flat Earth. That's not true.
They will tell you that science is true whether or not you believe in it, to never question the status quo.
Deceptive statement number 33. Simply untrue. Science is all about questioning the status quo. Just look at your opening story about coelacanth. The history of science is littered with examples of the status quo being successfully challenged by people who had evidence, which is something that Flat Earth does not have. Not a single scrap of evidence after millennia of observing the Earth.
Never revisit old theories. We encourage people to not take our word for it, but instead do their own research and question everything.
Deceptive statement number 34. This is a whopper of a lie. Speaking as someone who's researched and made my own observations, then presented them to Flat Earth believers, I can assure everyone watching that the Flat Earth community has no interest in people who question Flat Earth. Flat Earthers have already decided to believe that the Earth is flat regardless of any evidence to the contrary. They constantly reject evidence for no good reason and then place further restrictions on what evidence they will accept. When that evidence is provided, they move the goalposts by placing even more restrictions on what they will accept. Flat Earth is highly intolerant of questioning.
They will tell you to abandon your religion, your faith, because it has no place among scientism.
Deceptive statement number 35. While some scientists are atheists, I do not know of any that will tell others to abandon their religion. It is perfectly possible to be a scientist and to be religious. Many scientists are religious and are still welcome and valued as scientists. Only when a scientist allows their religion to cause them to do bad science are they criticized. And then they're criticized for the science they do and not for the religion.
Flat Earth University makes no religious demands. Whatever your faith is, keep it, because the very nature of Flat Earth implies that it was built, which means by default there was a creator. And the great thing about Flat Earth University is you can take courses from anywhere, anytime, at your own pace, no matter what your occupation or lifestyle is. There are no exams, and we have thousands of instructors all learning from each other every day. We don't just inform people of new observations, we open minds, and when they are open, that enthusiasm becomes infectious.
Deceptive statement number 36. Flat Earth does not open minds. An open mind accepts all evidence and attempts to understand what is most likely to be true. Flat Earth starts from a baseless but dogmatic assertion that the Earth must be flat, and rejects without reason all evidence that indicates the Earth cannot be flat. Flat Earthers do not seek to learn from each other. They only seek reassurance that their friends still believe the lie. Meanwhile, people like you, Mark Sargent, seek to exploit those who have fallen for the Flat Earth lies.
Flat Earth isn't a theory, it is part of the Great Awakening, one that will eventually define our civilization and our legacy. In closing, you better get to the mic fast if you're going to ask questions, because I got like 5 minutes, they might give me 8. I'd like to remind people of my mission statement. My name is Mark Sargent, and I'm a proud Flat Earther. It is my addiction, my unhealthy obsession, and next to my dear mother, it is my favorite thing in life. It is everywhere, just waiting for you to discover it. The people involved are kind, sincere, and most importantly, open-minded. I'm hoping that you will find what I have: knowledge, truth, and love for each other.
Deceptive statement number 37. Mark, you spread lies about the shape of the Earth. You have knowledge that the Earth is not flat. The truth you know is that you can con people into thinking the Earth is flat. This is not the behavior of a loving or caring person.
The way the world was always supposed to be. The globe is already dead, they just don't know it yet.
Deceptive statement number 38. The Earth is a slightly irregular oblate spheroid. Even if every person on the Earth believed the Earth was flat, it would still be a slightly irregular oblate spheroid. There is zero evidence that Earth is flat.
Long live Flat Earth. Thank you.
So that was Mark Sargent's presentation at the Flat Earth International Conference 2019. I thought it was a thoroughly dishonest and deceptive presentation, including many statements that can only really be considered to be outright lies. Mark appeared to be trying to give some sort of a pep talk to the audience, trying to convince them that they were part of some important and growing movement. I don't think this is true. Flat Earth is important only in the sense that it has become something of a cult, and that people who are dragged into this cult it can often have their lives damaged or even destroyed by being involved in Flat Earth. Mark likes to portray Flat Earth, as he did towards the end of that talk, as a loving and caring community. But anybody who has watched Flat Earth live streams, especially from people like Nathan Oakley or Globebusters, can see just how vicious and unpleasant these people can be towards those who reject the flat earth for the lies that it actually is. So that's all I have to say about this subject. It's been quite a long video. If you've made it to the end, well done, and thank you very much. I may post it as I'll post it as one long video, but also as 3 or 4 shorter videos as well. But for now, goodbye, and thank you very much for watching.